pink and non-fixed explains.
Make sure I get this.
And that is about the time frame. I mean, it is definitely possible that it could have happened from in between the time the 911 call was made.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually not fixed, I think, till like 8 hours, somewhere like that, 6 to 8 hours. Then it's not going to change at that
That's
point.
when it's fixed and it won't move any longer. Yeah.
And it depends. It's somewhere between 4 to 6, depending on how big the person is and medical history, circulation, things like that.
It's essentially the blood vessels giving out once you pass in the direction of where you're at. So somebody's saying their brother passed and he was on his side, like he was leaning and all of it went to the side. It really is just how gravity would work. If you put, let's say you got like a bag and you put it into like a 2 position and then you just kind of let it fall wherever it's twisting. That's where you're going to find the pooling.
No case, Mama.
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
Well, Melissa, I wonder myself how they know that she had closed fractures when no radiology was done.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking maybe they were visible.
But she had thick hair, so would that even be...
Well, the thing about that, though, Amanda, think about it. Normally, when it's visible, it's indents.
Mm-hmm. Or the skin is broken.
I was thinking the skin would have been broken.
Right.
Just because of how edgy the exit
But
was.
that wouldn't be a closed fracture.
Right. That was,
What's
I
the water?
mean, at the end of the day,
The water's always going to be colder, even with a hot water.
But also, you don't think that they can do it just by feeling the school itself?
These people that did this? Do you really want me to answer that?
No.
I mean, come on, Amanda. You know, even that. Hell, my stray cat outside that steals my chicken fingers could have done a better job than this.
Now I gotta take off my jacket. I'm all blushy over here.
This diagram just leaves so much room for things to be unaccounted for. Like, there's not a top of the head view. There's so much missing that needs to be accounted for.
I cannot believe you asked me that.
It takes me back to I know you didn't follow the Kaylee Anthony case, but it takes me back to the Kaylee Anthony case where they didn't open her skull to examine it, and they used that against them in court because they're like, how would you even know if you didn't even open it? And he's like, I can tell from the outside.
What the hell? Here we go.
But he could tell from the outside. I believe it.
Who this is don't even know. Oh.
Is it possible that the pink rigor mortis would have been from her being held upright after the shooting?
The rigor mortis
placed into the river.
He was saying her skin was pink.
Yeah.
And Kim said she would be face down according to what Bishop found on that video.
No. Hang on, because the way that this reads, it's like they're saying the liver mortis color's pink.
They are, and that's the reason I said I need you to research that, because there's only a handful of reasons why it would be pink. And one of them...
You said the liver was pink.
The liver, they're saying that the liver mortis was pink and not
because they found her pretty quick, Natasha, if you think about it. I mean, I don't think it would be...
that makes sense to me. The liver mortis being pink, it should be pink.
And how can they get an accurate reading of her possible time of death if she was dumped in the river? The temperature's going to change, which is going to bring the body temperature down. It's not going to be accurate.
I think these photos just automatically assume it's the time she called.
That's what they did, because they put it at like 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
They just made the assumption that she unlocked herself at 3 o'clock right after she hung up the phone. And that's when they said the time of death.
Ooh, Natasha, did you also see that in that report it states that she was in the hospital and then she was at the morgue. So JP wasn't lying. She was indeed at the hospital.
Yeah, I see it.
So for once, he didn't lie.
You should go Google about pink liver mortis. It also says that it could be from poisoning of...
But her toxicology came back negative.
If they did one, really.
They did. They took it from several places. They took it from more than one place as well.
And then it also says from being stored in cold temperatures. Which I can't believe
How cold was the river would be cold?
I don't know exactly what it was back there in the slough. It would have been different than it is in the main river.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll know by tomorrow.
Like 70s, 60s?
I don't want to say because somebody will quote me and then I'll
You're right.
I'll know by tomorrow.
Okay.
That's why I didn't want to say too much about why it would be pink, because there's only a handful of reasons, actually. And some of those things would not, depend on the time. I don't know if it said on there the time they did the toxicology or how late or where they drew it from. But, depending on what could have been used, I don't want to speculate too much. Some of those things are going really fast in toxicology.
Like what?
That's why they're used.
Rohypnol.
Rohypnol will stay in your system for a day.
Depends.
I think the only ones that I can think of that that will be gone from your system immediately is the succinate, the one that you can inject.
Would cyanide have shown up?
Oh, definitely. You could smell cyanide.
Cyanide smells sweet.
Like almonds.
I sure hope her family is watching, Natasha. I think they need you on their team.
I agree.
Her family, her dad does watch. Her dad's on TikTok. I've seen proof of him going around TikTok.
No, it doesn't say when they get the testing. Not that I can see.
You'd make an amazing defense attorney in prosecution, whichever side you're on. But
No, I'd be fault people.
well, I know, but you'd still be really good at your job.
People
She's like a very own Nancy Grace over here.
Okay, so a couple things. That are not sitting well with me. I would call the judge a bitch. You're right. I couldn't do it. Or a dumbass.
One-legged hen.
Something. So, in this,
Somebody needs a mute. I hear fish tanks.
yeah, I hear it too. Okay, let me get that. I feel like I've got Darth Vader up here. I don't know what is happening.
I was about to put me to sleep.
Yeah, there's no way that I could be a prosecutor or a defense attorney because I would tell them all off. And
Did you read the report under this diagram?
the big long thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think I said that? Do I think these people can feel for?
Had y'all read that before about the where that report? I felt like he might as well have been his defense attorney writing it. But at the end, where towards the last part of the paragraph, it says something to the effects of prior attempts by Pew Pew verified by family.
It said descendant's family did confirm previous suicide attempts by firearm and paranoia with bizarre behavior. And they did, yeah.
I had never heard that. Had y'all?
Sounds like something JP said allegedly.
Yeah.
He was the one there.
This is the thing. Okay, so this is a couple things. But here, let me clear this up for those of you who had questions about this. It does list her jewelry. It says she had on a yellow color necklace with a clear stone, a metallic ring with a clear stone, a black watch and a black bracelet, and a pair of bird earrings. So there is y'all's answer.
And we now know she was wearing shoes.
It says it. Yep. She was wearing...
Your mom said something about a black bracelet, remember?
It says that she was wearing a long sleeve black shirt, black pants, a black belt, green bra, black shoes, gray underwear, and black socks.
Is it possible? I'm just trying to think. Is it possible that she was in fear that somebody else might hurt her or do something, terrified her to the point that she put the pew pew to her head, and maybe knew that?
I think that it is very possible that somebody did hold it up there. In my opinion, that's the only way that you're going to be able to explain the trajectory.
I'm still like, I understand the liver stuff. I don't get the timing of it. Like, for it to be onset. I mean, if say she pews at 3:00, they're getting a call at 4 something that someone's found the body. They're probably to it around 5. That's only 2 hours.
That's why the liver mortis is only pink, not dark blood, not dark red. It was still new, and then the temperature of the water.
I mean, because liver mortis, you have to think about your body's going to be in shock at the beginning. And it's not going to understand what's happened. So it takes it a little bit to realize, hey, I'm not alive.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
then,
blood vessel just started.
yep, and then everything starts, because the process of decomp starts within 5 minutes, normally. If you die of natural causes. If you don't die of natural causes and it's a shock to the system, it can be 20 to 30 minutes before it starts. Yes, you did, Angela.
The one thing they say is that it's basically the oxygenation of the cells around it, that the red blood cells that give it the liver mortis the color, and then as the red blood cell, the oxygen in the blood cells decline, it becomes more of a purplish hue.
And what
Because of the concentration.
Well, and what Amanda just said is the reason that if the water was colder, it would preserve that.
I think that's why. Okay, so
It starts in about an hour.
So 20 to 30 minutes after she passed away, livor mortis would have started. But you're just going to see, it's not going to. So, you know, when you cry really hard and sometimes blood vessels bust around your eyes and you have those little patches of like red spots, that's what it starts out looking like. Just little patches of red dots or pink dots.
Petechiae, basically.
Yeah, petechia. But it's all over your body. So like if you are sitting up, those patches are going to start in the lowest area of your body. If you're standing up, it's going to be in the lowest area of your body. For instance, a case that I did a couple years ago, the man hung himself. And his lividity, or livor mortis, was completely from his thighs down to his toes. And part of his penis.
It's just how it hangs.
Literally. Gravity. So, in my personal opinion, and I'm not an expert by any means, and I'm not trying to portray myself as one, but common sense should tell anybody that she didn't do this to herself.
Is that alone, that part of the report, enough for anyone to reopen the case?
It should be, but the problem is, what are they going to use?
Right.
They don't have a crime scene because everybody and their uncle's brother's cousin has been out there.
A lot of people were asking Natasha about, the information that could possibly be on her phone or her watch. And yes, in this, it is stating that they have a black watch. So I'm assuming it's her Apple Watch.
Yeah, definitely.
So if her family gets it, we'll be able to know footsteps, heartbeat, so on and so forth.
Well, this is the problem with that, though, Amanda. This is the problem with that. He got all of that. He got all of that.
Right. If he has the necklace, they probably took all her jewelry and handed him a baggie with jewelry.
Yeah, he got everything that she was wearing.
Yeah, that we know because they're requesting it. You're right.
Fuck.
And it's released to him already, right?
He's had that since the day after she died.
The only way that might not matter with the watch is that the lawyer has her phone. And if it's linked and she had like her activity thing, which assuming she probably did, most people that are active like her have the active thing on their phone, and they could go to her Apple Watch thing and see all of her activity, her heart rate of that day, her steps. So the phone might still be able to tell us what her watch said.
What is the date on this report? I don't see it.
I can't see it either.
Let me look.
I've got the full one and I don't see it.
It's 5:15.
What day?
No, hold on. Was that the time?
I don't see it.
I thought she signed it maybe.
I'm afraid of. Oh wait, is that the time?
Let me see. But they don't, Rich. The medical examiner's office gave it to him the day after she passed away. So he's had it.
So the samples were obtained the 28th of April, and the log for the toxicology report says that it was logged the 17th of June. But they received them in April, the 28th of April. So I'm assuming that's the day that they did this all, right?
Mm-hmm. No, Rich, they didn't. They handed it over to him. That's how he ended up with her necklace, and it's listed in these belongings that the watch would have been with.
Kat Huffman is asking if he had access to her iCloud. He has before. When she went to when he put her in February, he went through and deleted all of everything that she had because she was obtaining evidence to divorce him, and he went through her cloud and he wiped everything. So it's very possible that he did it again, especially having all of her items. He could reset the passwords and have the items with him to go forth and do it. So I think he would have. And also one thing, what I was thinking, another motive, if there is one, in my opinion, is that had she actually gone forth with a divorce and found evidence again of him cheating, she would have definitely, when she filed, they would have definitely been accepted, and she would have been a ringer for spousal support. And this would be the second woman he has to pay spousal support to, which would send somebody like him up the wall.
I
just noticed something. At the top of that report, it says preliminary.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that today.
And the medical examiners, she signed it May 15th, and I don't know if it's he or she, but the initials are June 20th. But there is no time. Somebody just asked a while ago, is there a timestamp? I don't see one.
I don't see one on this thing either. That's what I was asking. Well, that's true, Candy. Nothing's ever deleted truly. The FBI should be able to pull it, no matter what he's done to it.
I think somebody on the panel earlier followed the Murdaugh also. Who was that?
I did.
Okay, so I'm almost positive that was that case where they had that expert that used the lasers and all that to like reenact like the gunshot direction and angle.
The trajectory. Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking earlier when I was listening to y'all, like,
If someone just said that they viewed the body at 8:13, if they viewed the body at 8:13, oh my goodness, that changed a lot more. Things would have been different.
Well, now they don't do it with red yarn anymore. They do it with that was back in the day. Oh shit! They was out there stringing red yarn from the trees. Mm-hmm. No, they use lasers these days.
Natasha, could the bullet in the tree? I just don't know much about like exit wounds. I only know how my pew pew shoots into a target. But could it have gone through and into the tree?
Mm-hmm.
Would that line up with the side of the entry wound? Because I've obviously never been out there.
I don't know where the tree is that the bullet wound is. The bullet wound, Jesus. The bullet hole is in. We couldn't find the tree that had the bullet hole.
I feel like somebody posted a picture like with it lodged in it. It may have been on one of the dad's videos.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll look and see if I can find it.
Yeah, because I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I can tell you right now.
Yeah,
I'll be up all night.
This was in the beginning, or whenever that first came out. I thought somebody did post a picture of it.
No, her death isn't being investigated. That's the issue. That's the issue, is that it's not. And
Be careful what you say, Natasha.
I am. That's why I'm biting my own tongue.
What do you think about the injuries stating that they were caused by when they pulled her out?
Bullshit.
Like, how did they determine that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you something right now. They damn liars, because they ain't no briars on the bank of that place.
They said they checked her at the scene.
If that's the case, then what was they doing? Dragging her through the damn bushes?
Exactly. One thing that I was thinking was it says there it's checked that they checked her both at the hospital and at the scene.
My ass.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's they're saying that? I mean, I'm not saying like cover up, but do you think that's because of what the dad was calling out on her hands?
I just wish that we knew for sure.
That's why I'm asking Ange, because you're not supposed to bruise after. I was just, Natasha's part. I'm just playing back and forth with her.
They're just trying to get me to say something I'm not supposed to say.
Nuh-uh.
Y'all gotta remember, me and Amanda have known each other forever.
We do great at this.
Yeah. There's a few things I don't understand about this, okay? Why the hell did they need a boat?
If it was so close.
Why did they need a boat? And she's right at why? I don't understand.
The distance of everything still doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any freaking sense.
Well, the problem with the boat that I have is the boat is almost the same length as the entire width of the sloop. It doesn't even make practical sense.
Maybe they went in on the boat so they didn't tamper with the land. But, I mean, they tampered with everything else.
They brought the boat in from the back on the trails. It didn't come in by water.
Oh.
Only the kayak can get into the water.
Yeah. And that boat has partitions in it that do not move.
Did they ever take the boat off the trailer?
The boat is not there anymore.
I don't like, I mean, obviously it doesn't matter what I like, but I don't like that they sent out Odu to go look for her himself. Like, okay, we'll just go look.
Yeah, that's what I've always thought that too. Like, if
well, I don't know if they told him to go look or if he just went and looked after he talked to them.
Okay, I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole thing. I don't know whether
why the hell would you go back and look for a body? Why wouldn't you have just said to them, "Hey, we were over here, and I think you might want to go look in that direction."
And if he'd come up to them and been like, I heard this, whatever, had a conversation with them in any way, or if they saw anyone coming in off the river, for anyone getting back in, knowing what they might be looking for, wouldn't you be like, hey, we're doing an investigation right now, you can't go back in the water?
Do you really think that they were...
No, they don't have brains.
That's what I mean...
I guess that's what we're all hoping they'd say.
You can't think about this in a way that a logical person would think about it, because none of them do anything in a way that a normal law enforcement agency would do it. And it's not corruption. It's ineptitude. I mean, it literally is ignorance or laziness. I don't know.
Lack of everything.
I mean, if this report doesn't show you that these people are, I mean, my God, my 16-year-old could have wrote this.
Did you see what Candy said down there? Said, I'm going to go steps back to dispatch because you were taught to distract victims, not just say, okay, ma'am.
Well, that's what my sister was saying. Because Nikki was a 911 dispatcher for years.
They did say that the dispatcher had been suspended. She was new.
Well, seemed to have everything.
Well, the problem with that is hindsight's 20/20. Where was the person that was supposed to be training her? Because when you're being trained, your trainer should be right there with you.
Exactly.
I'm not buying that either.
I can understand that some people are lazy, but if that's the case, Natasha, every single person that was supposed to be an official.
I don't have a problem with the dispatcher. I don't think people should have a problem with the dispatcher. That's a small thing to be focusing on. That woman had a calm demeanor about her. She had her mind made up. It's nothing you gonna say to change her mind. What was she supposed to do? Panic? People always talk about the dispatchers, and in some cases, you can clearly hear that the dispatcher was not taking urgent enough measures to help the person. But this all expecting them to sound compassionate and everything, that's ridiculous, because that they need to be the way that they are, so stoic and everything. But as far as whatever she did or didn't do, she did a great job. She did perfect. I wouldn't change a thing. How can you? She knew what was going on in that moment. She knew Mica wasn't about to stay on the phone with her. She knew that. As soon as you get to talking that, I'm going to try to talk you out of this mess. I'm out of here. She knew that. She can get that tone out of her. She can get that. She felt that energy. She knew it. And as soon as she said, man, wait, listen to what I'm going to say. And I know we haven't heard the whole thing. But I'm just saying, you see how far that got her, right? You think anything else was going to get her any further? Y'all, man, please. Leave that lady alone. Shit.
Are you supposed to be up here this time?
Yes, I am. I'm already through arguing with those idiots on the TV. Do y'all know they're shooting over us on the end of Miami, at the tip of Miami?
Who is shooting over us?
Russia is planted down there, right off of Cuba, and the American ships are behind them before, and they're shooting over them.
I don't like to hear about this stuff. I pretend it doesn't exist.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Me
Turn
too.
on the news.
That's out of my
No,
control.
thank you. The news scares me.
No, I don't want to talk about the news.
What news channel
Okay,
are
so
you
they at
watching?
war.
Fox.
Okay.
It doesn't exist.
Okay,
Mom, we love Natasha, but we probably love you more because you made her.
oh my Lord.
Mama Cindy, I just wanted to see, did you see in the report that she had on a black bracelet?
I did.
Oh, God.
It's written in my notepad.
I love when you read your notepad.
Oh, God. My
It's
heart.
bad. Bishop wants to see it. I said, you probably don't. But anyway, okay, the pew-pew.
Ashley. Do you see Ashley's comment?
I can't read. I don't have my glasses
Ashley
on.
said, I'm just glad you don't hate me. He thought that she was up here about to cry.
I'm so sorry, tell her I'm so sorry.
Yes,
I didn't even know I had turned me on.
She was wearing the necklace. She was wearing the necklace to the person that just asked that.
Okay, again, back to the pew-pew.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it?
100 feet from her body, 5 feet off the bank.
And they didn't think that was suspicious.
We know where Natasha gets it.
Do you know how much that pew-pew weighs?
Yes, Mother. I do. And
And it's going to float on a tide going down there where there's none.
no, it's 5 feet away from the bank. She's 100 feet away from it in the opposite direction. They're saying she floated backwards against the current.
And the instrument and the casings were how far apart again? I'm going to call it the instrument.
100 feet.
Okay, so the casings were on the bank where the pew-pew was found. And the pew-pew was found 5 feet off the bank. So the pew-pew and the casings were 5 feet apart.
Well, they'll eject, but still they're not going to eject that far.
Why, no?
Who came
No.
up with this? You. I mean, who invented that word?
I don't know. Y'all told me I had to say that when I came over here.
You know, that's a discussion, honestly, that I think we should have one day because it's ridiculous. We sound crazy. But I have to ask y'all a
I was
question.
saying it on YouTube today, Soul Search. I was on my friend Robbie's channel talking about this, and I'm over there saying pew pew.
Yeah, don't we sound
like
crazy?
a whole fool.
I mean, it's ridiculous, and I'm trying not to rant about it because I'm almost about to forget what I wanted to ask. Okay, y'all go ahead. I'll remember in a second. I did ask it in the comments, though. Let me see if I can find my comment.
You have my disease.
Don't make me get my pew pew.
I know. Doesn't that sound
would laugh.
frightening?
I thought they were talking about lipstick to start with.
Hold them up. I got my pew pew.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, I think she was placed there. Even more so, I'm determined she was placed there now that I've seen this lividity. I told you. There's no way she wasn't placed there.
Yeah.
The first person I thought it was you because you're the one who told me that she was up against the log in the position and the shirt and all that. And I was like, wait a freaking minute. You're the first person I thought of.
I think with all this stuff we already knew so much. I don't think I've ever seen a case, and I don't know if Natasha, if you have, or anybody else, because I'm not sure if you guys are into it, have been doing true crime. But I don't recall ever seeing a case where it's been so unanimous across social media, which is global, that is definitely something going on. Like, so many people truly have believed, I mean, from the early onset, that one, she did not do this, and two, he had something to do with it. Even driving her to it, maybe, but even past that, and then look at all that has come out. And I'm trying to keep calm because I'm just so frustrated. And I'm beyond that, but really, I really would like to know. Because as I'm listening to you guys discuss this, and then I was reading some other reports simultaneously, it's like, okay, they have made their decision. Okay, I understood that a long time ago. And I also understand, the FBI is supposed to be checking into some other things. Okay, you know what? At this point, I'm tired of being patronized. You know, just it's the same way like with we got to say these silly words for things that really, stop playing with us. This woman, so many of us have a problem with what happened to this woman. And you're going to tell us that you can play in our faces and we're not supposed to do anything about it? Clearly, they decided that this is how this was going to go. And we have all of this evidence in our faces, just like we have about other things in life that we've been deceived about. But it's impossible for them to not take responsibility or be held responsible for the fact that this decision was not made justly. So there is a procedure for that somehow, somewhere. So I just feel like at this point, we can't just keep talking about this doggone case and then accept what they have decided, because everybody has a boss. There is no way that they should have made that decision, even with all that keeps coming out. Look at this thing you guys are reading right now. And you're going to tell me you're going to still sit up here and say this woman did this to herself?
I've been saying she didn't do it to herself from jump.
No. I'm talking about the reports, the findings.
Yeah, no. With the report, I think, I was honestly expecting, I've been leaning one way this entire time, and I was kind of expecting for this report to come out and me be like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit of sense, you know? But I'm even more like, are you freaking kidding me? It just confirmed it for me.
Yeah. And I expected this report to come out like this because of everything has been going. I really did. And they feel that boldly about it. And then for JP to bring his... and then think, who is he? Like, this guy... He's so dangerous because he lives in I don't know what world he lives in, but to come on here and try to play with us and give us some little silly story when we know the truth, it's like, what are you doing? And he's supposed to just hop off and whomever else is involved, but at the very least, this is not a proper cause of death determination. It's not.
Well, the problem with the entire situation is that, in my opinion, this was completely rushed, and I'm telling you, everybody needs to be protesting these documents.
Yes.
Everybody who has a channel needs to be speaking out about these reports.
Yes.
Just the fact that it says that lividity is posterior is, anybody that covers true crime, that knows, that has done it for any length of time other than this being their first case, should know that report is bullshit.
It is. And I expected it to be.
Well, I didn't expect that. I'm going to tell you. Did you not hear me? I expected bullshit, and I expected it to be written like a third grader, but I did not expect to see that livor mortis was posterior.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had your differences, but, that's one thing that Kyler said early on is if they're going to do anything in this town, it's make sure that the woman's death looks like she did it herself.
They thought they were cute with here's the timeline. JP was here. Here's a picture of his car. Mica was here. See this picture? She was here. Then she went here. Then she went here. And then it happened. The end. Okay, that was cute. Now, look where we are.
You know, I agree with you. I think the same person that wrote my cease and desist wrote this report too. It's spelled about the same way.
Yeah, you know what, Natasha? There's too many not legitimate things going on here.
Amen.
Well, you know, I've
Natasha,
seen
did
a
you put
lot.
your resume yet?
I've seen a lot of suicide
Mother,
pictures.
unaliving.
What?
Unaliving.
Unalive what?
You can't.
I want to say something, and I hope y'all don't get mad, but every time I come on here, this happens a lot.
But that's the thing. That's the point. This, I get it that we don't have a body. That's the problem. And regardless of any of that, okay? Regardless of any of that, the report, the findings, the non-investigations, all of that is wrong. It's wrong. You have to press against it. They need to go back and find that they were wrong for not investigating this case. That is very important. What happens after that, I don't know. But guess what? It needed to be investigated, and it wasn't. That's a big, huge deal.
Throughout the show, and I'm just trying to, it don't seem like this be y'all first time listening, so I'm not understanding why y'all don't, like, you come up here and then you just say these words repeatedly.
Because she's my mother. And she doesn't listen to me. She's my mother, and she doesn't listen to me. That's why.
I thought I was on. I was heated from the JP situation, and I kind of,
No, it's my mother, and she doesn't listen to me.
Don't worry about it, Cindy.
That's what
Don't worry about it. It rolls off my shoulders.
No, I want to hear what you said.
Well, I've seen a lot of unaliving pictures through my life with my late husband in the position he was in, and when a person shoots himself in the head, normally it's a man.
Yes, ma'am.
Woman hardly ever does that.
Yep.
But to me, this looks like someone was standing holding her. They propped that gun barrel,
Mother.
that pew upon the top of her ear to make sure it stayed there, so it would go straight through. So it was an immediate death. Can I say death?
Yes.
You know, I was asking the same question as soon as you said it. I think once we tackle this, because I know we will, I would like to gather a list, because it seems like this is simultaneous across platforms now, and have them explain to us what is the problem with us using these words that we've been using our whole lives. Like, why are you requiring us to change them and say silly things instead? Because to me, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, what are you guys doing to us? Because things like this, it's like you're trying to put us in a state to where we'll believe something like this. Like, oh, she did it to herself. Okay.
It's because this app is made for people 13 and over, and it doesn't necessarily have a way to monitor what gets across their feed. So it's kind of like putting a PG-13 rated R thing. They don't want us to do rated R stuff. We got to do PG-13. So that's why they do that.
Okay, but that's TikTok. But it's the other sites. You got to be older.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. I say whatever I want to say on Rumble.
I know. That's how you got me hooked. If they talk about Natasha on Facebook, I go in on their ass already.
The person who's going to unalive themselves is nervous. They're not just going to stand there with their hands straight as a board and align it up and do it. You know, it's
like, even as much even if it was her and that's what she was going to do, and she was at peace with it, you're still going to be shaking. Your adrenaline's going to be going,
especially from the weight of the pew pew.
I think that Mica, although it has been said, she's had some similar issues in the past. I don't think that it's that cut and dry, because there's a lot of things that can contribute to that. We've all had a time or two where we're like, this world is really something. And it could be a medication, it could be an illness, it could be other outside forces like people. And I think in her situation, it is more of a combination of medications and JP, because over the course of the time of this, us finding out about this and digging into it, I've learned so much about her life and her family that I want to be careful saying this, because I know it could be anybody at any time for any reason, because Robin Williams was a hard one for me, but he had issues that caused it, right? So I don't think that it should be that easy for them to try and relate her maybe previously having these issues to saying, yeah, seems believable that she'd do it again. And for JP to try to steer that narrative as he's done so hard, man, listen, let me tell y'all, I want this guy so bad. It's nothing I wouldn't,
Don't get me another cease and desist.
We get it, girl.
yeah, I know, I'm just really just trying to be careful, but I think that it's really comforting to know how unanimous this has been, regardless of what type of
yeah, I want to be careful what I say, especially when I almost say it's nothing I wouldn't do. But because, people can take that out of context, so that's not the intended statement, but yeah, yes sir, oh yeah.
Theory or, which aspect people think is this or that, it's too unanimous. This is where I'm at with it. We got to start fighting back because the world is not going to change in our favor and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to be nice to y'all. We have to start fighting back on things. What are we going to do about this? Besides talk about it, we can't talk about it to death. Now that we have a medical report, to me, that's final. What else do we need? Nothing.
No, it's not final. It's preliminary. We just,
okay.
Once we get the final. But the problem is, and this is what I've said repeatedly, Soul Search, the justice for Mica is not going to be what we want it to be unless something happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not literal.
No. Justice for him, and I think this is something that's not going to sit well with a lot of people, unless they find something to convict him of with these financial situations.
Yeah.
I'm afraid the justice for her is going to come in the afterlife.
Yeah, I've been saying that too. I think,
and I believe I'm definitely with her on that, and I've been saying that too. And what I'm expressing, what I'm talking about is just what I just stated a few minutes ago. Starting there, okay? JP little squirrel, he having fun. Let him have his fun. And I know how to have fun right along with him, okay? Right along with his punk ass. But these people should not have walked up on this scene, okay, and declared this a self-unaliving with all that we now know was present and not present or what have you. Given the situation, they should not. They should have done an investigation, and honestly, it should be across the board a rule, a law that you must do an investigation. I don't care what it looked like. An investigation needs to be done. Someone is no longer here. Like, seriously?
Because tonight I'm so super upset. Okay, they come with that noise. Let me roll my windows up. Because this right here, it's just so much. But however, the aspect where I'm looking at it right now from is these people cannot sit up here and say that this was a unaliving. So where's the angles that can be pulled on that? Because
but they are.
Their investigation, they didn't even really do an investigation.
They didn't do any kind of investigation.
And that's the problem. So not necessarily with JP or whatever. Let's start with you caused a determination to come about that allowed people to get away with taking a woman, allegedly, taking a woman away from here. And you didn't even investigate the situation. From what all we can see, it should have been investigated. I can understand if it's clear, if it looks clear, then they're able to get away with that. But it didn't even look like it. She's too far away from the casings and everything. How are they going to explain it? So something went through her skull and she crawled that far away?
No way. That's what I'm saying. None of it makes any sense. And after going there and seeing it, it makes even less sense.
Mm-hmm.
It just.
One thing I love about the true crime community, and it's maybe something that other people hate, but it's what I love, is that on a page that's dumb. It's not like sounding board. There's definitely different aspects and different ideas. People have their own theories and stuff. And Natasha and I have covered a few cases together now. Maybe this is probably like the fifth one. And usually we have the same consensus of what's going on. I personally have always felt like Mica did do this. It was self-inflicted, in my opinion. But I stand by the fact that it is very a la Michelle Carter. She got pushed and shoved and crammed there, and he did everything in his power to take every resource and every last finite piece of self-respect, self-esteem that she had, and I believe that he really did make it to where she had no other choice. He was taking everything little by little by little, and getting her in trouble with law, all this stuff, exposing her, revenge porn, all that stuff. I truly believe that she did it, but only because of him. And when her family says Mica wouldn't do this, I believe them. I believe them that she.
And this is a theory. This is a theory. Can you just imagine? It is Saturday evening. I heard JP done did another video, y'all. He done did another video.
Wouldn't do this unless there was someone pushing her. I'm not going to say his name so Natasha doesn't get a cease and desist, but allegedly I think it may be who we all are talking about that pushed her to the point where she felt she had no other out. And
Amanda, I'm not familiar with who you are. I want to know though, because y'all worked 5 cases together. That's interesting. So I think that I've always been open to either being correct, but I've always leaned more towards, in reality, what you just said is probably more like what happened, although
Well,
other things
hold on.
could be.
Let me stop you there just a minute.
Okay.
Amanda, you still think that after this livor mortis?
I just don't want to.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to jump. I've jumped
I
too
know.
many times and
I
had to
know.
pull myself back a little bit. So, like I used to say back in the day before I got too ballsy, show me. Prove it to me. This, of course, I'm asking you, Natasha. You know why I'm asking you. But show me more. Prove it to me further. But until now, I think that it was done by someone's hand, even if she did it. But my understanding of everything right now is, unless I see a card or like something, unless I see something else, I can't for sure say I've said too much before that, I had to negate or take back. So right now, this is just what I feel. But I'm not saying that it's the truth. I actually listen to Natasha, and I'm intrigued because I believe her too. So that's why I say, I love this. I love opening my mind to other things. That's why I love the true crime community. And Soul Search, I didn't mean that Natasha and I have worked on 5 cases continuously. We've covered the same cases at the same time.
Right.
And this is probably the 5th one.
I didn't hear everything that you guys were saying as far as the report. And I've seen a lot of people post the report. I don't even know. I haven't verified where it came from or anything. I'm just kind of late hopping online today, so I haven't read it for myself or anything. So I only heard bits and pieces of what you guys were talking about. When I heard y'all talking about it, I said, okay, I'm going to listen. Because if they're talking about it, then that's the actual report. And I heard some parts about livor mortis, but then I was reading another Facebook post about another aspect of the case. So I didn't catch all that part. So I'm going to have to catch up on it because it sounds like, it's a bit of a doozy there with that. Oh, my
That's
God.
an
Ask
understatement.
Natasha to say it again.
The livor mortis.
Before I jump down real quick, though, I just wanted to say something to Amanda and Soul Search. So my opinion lies almost in between the two of yours because, well, I guess maybe not. I don't know. I just have a little bit of different opinion than both of you.
Okay.
I believe that he definitely played a very big role in the factor of her possibly thinking about doing something like this at some point in her life. Whether this was the time, I'm not convinced. However, I do believe that he has a ton of things that he needs to take responsibility for and pay for. I also don't think that he has the balls to do this. I don't think that he had, yes, did he play a part in a lot of the mental side of things, but I don't think he played a part in this particular act. I believe that this was something done by somebody, not necessarily to warn him, but to show him. Let me try to think of my words here. I think she was in a way double-crossed. I don't think that he played a part in this, but I think that it's someone affiliated with him, if that...
Oh.
Well, that's what I've said for the last few weeks.
Me too.
I think that she was going there to meet somebody that she trusted enough to go there in this far distance, but she went the long way to make sure she wasn't followed, because you could damn sure know if you was going to be followed on that long stretch of road.
Oh, my
All you're
God.
to there is a damn tractor.
Wait, so everybody on this panel is talking on their channels about this case?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because I want to hear more about that, because I just asked the other day what happened between her leaving the apartment to her being at Lumber.
Well, this is my opinion, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that this is my opinion, and my opinion only. And it's my opinion right now. It may change.
Yeah.
But she was dressed for work and made a sandwich. Shows intent, and that she was going to work. Something happened between the time she left that house, the time she got to that pawn shop. Now, whether it was somebody that called her, messaged her, whatever, I do not know. But I do believe that it was somebody that she trusted enough to agree to meet them somewhere out of the way enough that there would be nobody there from that church who could see them. And I believe that it was also somebody that she didn't quite trust enough to not go without protection. And that's why she stopped at both the Pew.
Yeah.
And then I think that she went the route that she went because it's secluded, and she would be able to see if anybody was following her, if anybody was, whatever. And maybe they hadn't agreed on an exact location, and that's why she stopped at the gas station and waited. And then, because if she had needed gas, she would have gotten it when she first pulled into that gas station.
I agree.
She pulled in and parked on the side of the building, went in the store, got a drink, put it in the car, went to the porta potty, and then comes back, gets in the car and pulls to the gas pumps. She knew that she needed gas when she pulled in there.
Uh-huh.
Or did she? Maybe she didn't realize where she was going until whoever it was contacted her when she was over there on the side of that building, and she went into the porta potty.
It was almost as if she was stopping at a rest area, but it was
we have that 40 minutes that's kind of 44, whatever exact time it is, that's kind of unaccounted for. I don't think that the state park was necessarily the place where they told her to go.
I don't either.
I think that she went somewhere else, and I don't believe she ever went into that park alive.
I don't think she did either. I think another person, I think another woman drove her car into that park, dressed as her, and walked back there the way that she would have walked, so that if anybody saw her, they would think it was Mica. And then they had her back there already, and that's why her phone pinged in that crossroads of those roads. And then they staged everything and then set off a firecracker.
And man, this is here he comes. Come on with it.
Kind of said something the other night that kind of stuck with me is like, why would she walk all the way that she walked, get to where her location of all of her stuff is at,
Exactly.
and then walk all the way up to where her phone pinged, make the call, and then walk all the way back down?
Right.
You know, guys, this is exactly where I've been on this from the start. And it's like, wow. But the theory that you just spoke about, that maybe somebody was trying to, so somebody, you guys, well, some of you think that whoever may have did it was trying to send JP a warning or a message. So he's angered someone. So you don't think they would have done it on his behalf?
Well, this is my thinking on it. His behavior has been, if any,
So what do y'all think about that? I mean, that's y'all just heard quite a few different, possible scenarios, and what are your thoughts?
manic since this happened. He has not acted like a in any way, shape, or form a grieving husband. I think we can all agree on that. No doubt he was into some shady things, or the FBI wouldn't be investigating his finances, the church, and their trip to Africa. So, knowing that Mica filed for divorce 2 days prior, knowing that Mica reported the church to the IRS 2 days before she was found, what if somebody that he was in business with, in whatever with, was worried about what she was going to tell? And what if they lured her out there in order to use her as an example, shut her up, make sure she couldn't speak to the IRS, make sure the divorce didn't go through so that she didn't have anybody to talk to?
So the business would
Yeah,
be
I thought that's what it was, yeah.
would shut him up too, and this would be like a warning to him: you do anything else, and this is what's going to happen to you.
Okay, but let me ask you this, because that's how I was looking at it, but how would it be a warning to JP? Because I think he was also trying to rein her back in so that she wouldn't be spilling all this information.
A warning to him as, you better not say a damn thing. Because they know that the FBI is on to them, and they know that the FBI is investigating them.
Oh.
And he had lost control of her at that point.
He's really good at telling on himself.
Yeah. I'm fixing to get off of here, Natasha, but I just want to tell Soul Search, like, I respected a lot that you said. I was listening. But the other night I was on here, and I don't know if you were on here with us, but I went over quite a few statistics about this, the manner of death that they ruled hers in, but also how organized. I'm really bad about using the vocabulary we have to use on here, because I'm used to being able to speak freely. But with organizations such as churches, one of the biggest things that they are looked into, the largest crimes, is organized crime, and for doing things like buying and selling, things that should not be for sale. And with that being said, when you look into the history of that particular organization, they report there's a lot of sketchy things out there, and she was no longer under control by him. And that's where my theory is. What Natasha just said is where I go with it. I think you always have to follow the money when it's something like this. However, I will say, I was totally with Amanda. Like, I needed some proof. I was like, maybe she just had enough. Maybe they pushed her to herself. Pushed her to this point because everybody's got a breaking point. But then statistically, and even like a suicide risk assessment, she wasn't high risk right now. Like, she wasn't even really low risk, honestly. And she didn't even rate on the scores. And so I feel like I'm going to get off in just a second. I want Amanda for you to explain, or not explain, but like give me some insight to your thoughts. Like, how do you dismiss, and when you think about what they're saying, like that it could have been somebody else, when you think about the casings and the little map, that Natasha puts up all the time with all the little different pins. That's what I think whenever all that came out is when I changed and started thinking like I'm thinking about organized crime. Prior to that, I was in the same boat with you. Like, everybody's got the breaking point. He either physically pushed her to do this. I was all about either he somehow forced her, or...
Well, then don't listen to us anymore, WTF. Get the fuck off of my chat. It's real simple. Hey, Amanda.
Someone can fix it.
Amanda. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I heard, you're asking, what I think when these other theories arise. When I say what I think, it's just my bottom line until I know further. But, I've been on this case since the beginning with Natasha, and, we've discussed this. Before the video images came out, I thought to myself the same thing that Natasha was thinking. There's decoys, there's another person, there could be, the private investigator, so on and so forth. Like, all those things ran through my mind. So when you guys say it and put it together, it definitely, I definitely log it as a possibility, because it doesn't sound far-fetched.
Right.
I just don't have anything to prove it myself, so I'm just not going to say it. Can I piggyback off that for a second? And this is, I'm trying to be really careful, Natasha, if I say any wrong words, scold me like Mama Cindy. But back to, we talked about it a few minutes ago, Soul Search mentioned Robin Williams, and then Amanda was speaking about mental health stuff. I have had some really, I don't know how to really explain it, but I've had my own personal issues in the past, and things that are bizarre. And I want to be really careful what I say, because I'm not putting down anyone that's got any form of mental illness at all. But I went through a situation for psychosis. They just
medication.
And cause. If someone's already prone to that.
It made you kind of silly.
Yeah, medications are very dangerous, especially the psychiatric medications and medications that mess with your hormones and steroids, things of that nature. I think it could have been a combination of both. And we all know that JP also, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop saying his name, but he also has, some issues and medications. But I want to ask you guys, with the theory of possibly others being involved who, were possibly involved with the investigation, could they also be part of the reason why this was covered up so quickly?
Okay, let me say this. I don't think that anybody involved with the investigation is involved in what happened. I want to make that clear. I think that this particular agency is just used to half-assing everything they do. And if you look at their track record, you will see what I'm talking about.
Yes, I used to live there. I was living there during the time that they had the, what was it, Operation Blackout or something like that? Yeah, I was living there during that time. I'm very familiar. So.
Yeah, I don't think that it's corruption or that anybody was paid off. I just think that they're a shitty law enforcement agency, point blank.
Well, either way.
Right, I'm going to hop down so if anyone else wants to come up. But I have a request. Is there any way that we could do a poll? 3 responses if people think that she did this to herself, if they think it was one way or they think it was like she was double-crossed.
Yeah. Can one of the mods put that up, please?
I think that I'm fixing to get down to Natasha, but I didn't want to forget this. The report, I don't know if y'all ever seen this preliminary report written by, because each state's different and each organization is different, and I don't know anything about North Carolina. This is why I'm asking. But I've never seen one written here that wasn't more specific. Like if you read it, she says law enforcement this, law enforcement this, instead of like detective so and so or sheriff so and so. Like she's just using these vague statements. Mm-hmm. It's not specific. And like in the professional world, when it's something serious like this, you do document who it was to cover your own butt.
That's the reason why I didn't initially think that this was the actual report, unless this is just one that was released and there's a more detailed report. I'm not sure.
It says preliminary, but I don't have much hope that the
what else could they add?
Is going to be any better than this one.
I don't know what else they could add. And then the only other thing is, I just keep going back to the distance of the case. Seems like I would I don't want to believe she did it, but I'm just saying, like, I can't get over that. Like, I don't understand how it could be physically possible.
Everything points to me that this was done by others, and everything, including her, was strategically placed. So, is there some way that something could be filed to have
Natasha?
I saw your comment.
Okay.
I don't know how to phrase the question, but they didn't investigate the case when it should have been investigated, and that was obvious. So is there anything that could be done about that?
Not unless the family does something about it.
Well, and I'll say if the FBI does find something that correlates with my theory about there being a larger organized crime behind this, then that would maybe lead them into the death investigation. But right now,
if they're not,
there's no reason.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's why they're doing that. And I read into words a lot because that's what I have to do for a living. But like, I feel like them saying there's a parallel. I think they're not doing a death investigation, but I think it's highly possible that they may find something that may lead to them opening one later.
Well, I think if, like she was saying earlier, if we don't keep this out there and just keep talking about it, it's going to go away and it's going to be put on the back burner because they've come out with a report. So they think that satisfies everybody.
So the issue would be,
at this point, does though the general public, they usually are satisfied,
right?
But at this point, the issue would be first and foremost with Robeson County, because regardless of what did happen to Mica, it was obvious that the scene should have been investigated and it wasn't. So
but see, the problem is, and you can look at the statistics. I'm too sleepy to figure it out myself right now. But okay, the poll is up there. Y'all click the blue folder or the blue clipboard right above the yellow picture.
Miss Natasha, I have a question for you.
Okay.
You remember me from last night, man?
I do.
Okay, cool. Do you think that have you heard the 911 phone call when she was over there in that national park?
Mm-hmm. I have.
How do you feel? I want to ask too much detail, but how do you feel about that? Obviously, she wasn't in the right mind state, but I don't know. Listening to that phone call was crazy, and I'll be honest with you. I got to where she was on the phone with the operator, and then I heard a good bit of it, but then I had to turn it off because I got real upset about it, and that's. I don't know, Miss Natasha. How you feel?
I'm struggling to hear him.
I can hear him. I just, well, Harlequin, you don't need to be listening to anything that's going to trigger you either. Especially not with you being in a situation that you've been in. But I will say this. I feel like it was her, but I feel like she was either in a position of being forced, or she had just resigned herself to the fact that this is, okay, so 86.87% say no, she did not do this. 6% say yes, and 7% say undecided. Only 99 of y'all voted out of 500. Now, what in the world?
Can you redo the poll one more time?
Well,
Yes.
I'm not that familiar with.
Don't do anything that was resigned to the fact of what she was going to do, or she knew that whoever blue and white clipboard.
Sorry,
But I mean,
I just heard that, like, this situation is crazy. I told you last night, and then her ex-husband, or her husband, was pastor and spreading out the good news. But then at the end of the day, he could not, I don't want to, because I don't know how to say it the right way without going into another direction with it.
okay, so this time we had 158 votes. 6.9% said yes, she did it. 86.8% said she did not, and 6.96% said that she that they were undecided.
Can I ask a question about the TikTok lives? How do you find them after they're done?
You can't. Oh, you mean ones that you've done?
Well, no, because I haven't done any, but I went back and looked for some of yours, and I didn't see them.
Yeah, you can't see them on here after the fact, but I upload all of mine onto Rumble the next day.
Okay, so they allow the creator to access them.
Yeah, so for guys, if you don't know, you ever catch Natasha's live or you want to see her past lives, go to her Rumble page. Same. True Crime with Natasha Cooper. All right, on Rumble.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I upload mine the next day in the morning to Rumble.
Okay.
Do y'all follow Reddit by chance?
Every time I get on Reddit, I get down a rabbit hole that is something that I didn't even go there to begin with for.
Yeah, that rabbit hole is humongous.
I got over there and got down the other night. I don't even know how, but I ended up about some woman who had been stealing cars, and I don't know what. I don't know how in the world.
I tell you, Reddit is a different world. I'm just probably a year into Reddit, and Reddit is crazy. One of the craziest stories I read was this gentleman, age 22 or 23, one or the other. He tried opiates and the H word.
Be careful mentioning other
Thank you. Get blamed when find a whole bunch of negative things to say about somebody.
Yeah. Real, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, I do. And first, I want to say thank you for letting me come on. First thing I wanted to say is, have you guys seen the photos of Mica driving in her car where it looks like there's a man sitting in there behind her with a shaved head and you can see his ears?
Yes.
Okay. And then...
It's a good one because it's been floating around and people seem to really believe that there's someone in there. So I would like to hear what you guys got to say.
Well, I will tell you this. As far as that picture goes, this is what I think about it. What I think about it is, if there is somebody in there, the FBI knows and they're taking care of it. Mm-hmm. And us speculating on what it is or who it might be is doing nobody any good, especially Mica.
Yes.
Because if people dig into it too much and try to find somebody that it is and accuse innocent people like they've done with all these other people, then all that's going to do is cause further issues with any kind of investigation that could be done after the fact. So it's another slippery slope.
Sure.
And I personally am not willing to say one way or the other what I think it is or what I don't think it is, because I don't know. I don't know. It's not a clear enough picture, in my opinion, to be able to make an educated opinion on what it was.
That's fair. And then the other thing that I had wondered if, let's see, how do I say this? The platform in which he used to release the multiple content videos, the last one that was posted was actually seemed like it was to be like playing both sides of the fence, where that creator was attempting to draw an attention for the cause that we're sitting here for, as injustice for her. So I thought that was really pertinent, if that makes sense. And then I had seen somewhere else where her father had posted more or less about wanting everybody to just fall silent, and if there is anything that we know or have tip-wise to turn it in, obviously, which, coming from 15 years in a very similar situation to what she's experienced, except for hers obviously went much worse than, and mine could have been there, but it wasn't. At any rate, it's really hard when you have someone like that, especially in the various positions that they held within the community and what they were attempting to do, and with larger fish that they were dealing with. Are you guys considering falling silent? Because I really think that would turn him into a creature that would not be controllable.
So let me talk about this, about the father's statement. He has since taken it down. I will say that. But
and this is the father's statement of don't discuss certain things, take it to the FBI, that type of thing.
I was actually offended by the statement, and not because I thought it was directed to me, but because I have put in a lot of time and effort into my trying to make sure that people are educated with actual factual information, not just, nonsense and chasing phantom people and blaming innocent people and all of this mess that's been going on across the board. I've been very, very diligent in making sure that nothing negative is said about the family or Mica, because I do not believe that the families of victims should be spoken about negatively. And the issue, Jessica, did you mean to come up here? I don't think so. The issue with telling people not to talk about the case anymore, and to leave it to law enforcement is this: once you've opened Pandora's box, you can't put it back in. Okay. And the only reason that this case has gotten the attention that it's gotten is because of the amount of social media, if you will, I'm gonna mute you just a second, it's loud. The amount of social media attention that it's gotten. And Night Mama, there are so many other cases out there right now who have never gotten the attention that this case has gotten, and who would literally hand over fist be so thankful for creators to cover their loved ones' cases in the way that this one has been covered. And that's why I sort of just was, like I said, I didn't think it was directed at me, because he did mention specifically about
freedom of information.
Yeah, he mentioned about the freedom of information, so I knew that it was directed in a certain direction. But the problem with that is how other people's perception of what you're saying is taken. And telling people to stop talking about something when you've literally asked them to talk about it, especially when you and the other subject are arguing back and forth, on social media and in the press. I don't know. I just had I'm glad that he took the post down.
Right.
But I still have my own feelings about it.
I understand. I'm going to say this. I understand what you're saying, but I do look at it like this. His post is down, and somebody said they're standing down, so I'm all good.
Well, I agree with you on that aspect. I do think that had something to do with it as well. And I agree that people who are out here who are accusing innocent people need to stop. I agree with that 100%. I've been preaching that for,
Check this out, straight up and down. I had a video I was going to do on Kyla and show y'all about this old singing inspirations and all that. And I was going to tell y'all that watch Kyla, try to use this case to get popping like Kyla never was able to get popping before. While Kyla was telling y'all that, Kyla, I didn't do social media before this and all that. You think I'm playing? I literally just deleted the video that I had previously did about a week before Kyla. Oh, yeah, stepped down. And guess what, y'all? I can sing. I'm done. I'm done, son. But I still got the little shorts, like the edits and everything, with footages of Kyla in the past on trying to get it popping and other stuff like that. Listen, can't play with my yo-yo, baby. Don't try to play me out. Don't try to play me out.
It started and way before that. These, just like this dang pawn shop. If you were near that pawn shop on the day that she was there, Lord help you, you've been accused of God knows what.
But now,
Your family has
please
been looked
speak on
into.
that.
Because there should be
The
a lot of
people
people speaking
in the
up.
Facebook groups seem to not like Natasha. And they have a lot of junk talk to say. And to me, it just doesn't make any sense because the way I see them behave, I don't see her acting like that. As far as putting out false information, I've seen her keep the integrity of the case upheld more than any other creator that I've seen talk about this case. And these people in these groups, like she just stated, have been accusing people of doing things, especially, most of the people that were in the pond, even the man with the little baby, and they've gone after these people. They have, doxed them, just all kind of horrific things. And soon as someone mentions Natasha, they're going to say everything in the book, and actually none of it has to even do with this case. And I'm like, if you look at how she's reported this case and look at how you guys in this group are reporting the case, there's no comparison. So I don't get it. But in a way, I kind of do. You're going to have people that act that way. However, these are the type of things that I feel like Mica's father was speaking about, including the one who stepped down. Yes, thank you for stepping down. But we didn't need your sob story anymore.
Oh, God, girl, I know. There's a few more that
Yes,
step down.
and I agree. I have watched your channel and been on these lives since